step. So if you have, and then some folks were kind of confused by her email, thinking that we as program specialists at the national can go in and see your VocaFit. We cannot. So again, it's only those individuals that have access to your individual site. So we can't see that. Member portal information, we can kind of see global things. We cannot see specific interns, but for VocaFit, we cannot. So only the administrators like Dennis can go in and kind of see everybody. So just want to be clear on that. Again, we have these required trainings. So if you are anybody who is a new staff or anyone who, you know, started the program and never received any of these trainings, these are the trainings that we would like you to have as part of Project Search. So first off is the 7 Project Search Academy trainings. Those are located in the member portal. That's listed as trainings on that member portal, and that takes you to a different site. Right now, it says that you could receive CRC credits. So if you're an Access VR counselor, or if you have CRC for some other reason, there are some of those courses that are currently available for CRC credits. And those are the advanced courses. The regular courses have expired, and we are in the process of getting those reestablished, but that takes 30 days. So probably not until mid-November will we have that. So if you do take those courses, just hold on to them, and then you'll be able to submit them under the new numbers. Project Search overviews are just a kind of 101 about Project Search. Those are usually 2-3 hour sessions that are offered virtually. At this moment, we do not have any more of those scheduled for the 22 calendar year. However, we are meeting as a team in November. And so at that time, we're going to figure out what's needed and when those will be offered. So please go back and look on the calendar if you have not completed those trainings. And then the teaching and training for success models. We are teaching and training success. We're offering number 4 today. So that means there's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, right? So there's 4 left. If you have not completed 1 through 3, that's okay. You can take them out of order. So if that's something that you can get to in these next Tuesdays, please feel free to do so. They are not scheduled again for the 22 calendar year. Again, when we meet in November, we will be taking a look at that. The license fees. So if you are a license holder on the call, they will be sent out shortly, so mid-October, and there is an increase in the fee to $350 this year. If you have any questions about your license or any of the past licenses, please contact the Project Search Business Office at this email address. And this PowerPoint will be available to everybody in a PDF after the meeting. And then lastly, please just remember that search is all caps. I know that sometimes we shoot out emails really quickly and we just type it out as search, or, even me, I sometimes spell search wrong, and then my autocorrect corrects it and makes it, just regular words. So please just remember to try to capitalize that at all times. All right, and so here is the information about the state of Project Search. So a lot of this information was shared with folks at the conference. So if you are at the conference, this might be a little bit of a review, but we do have some kind of updated information at the end. But these statistics are the statistics that were presented at the conference. So, yeah. So again, remember that when we collect data, we're collecting data 9 months after the graduation. And so for us, the most up-to-date data would be the fall of 2020 to spring of 2022. So fall 2020, spring, I'm sorry, 2021. And so again, think about that time of the year. That was when COVID was, in full swing. So all of this data is based upon really that strong COVID year. And so there's definitely some changes due to that. So first thing is we added 18 new programs that year, which is incredible that actually 18 programs got off the ground in that 2021 program year. But 110 programs went on hiatus due to COVID. So when we're looking at this data, we're looking at program information for 485 active sites. So with that, any of those sites that were on hiatus are not included in this data. So once again, we had 99% of our sites reporting. So 483 out of the 485 reported data for that year, which again is pretty incredible. And you can see that really it didn't change despite any of the things that were going on with the pandemic. Our distribution of class size. So for 2021, most folks were operating with 6 students or participants of some type in the program. As you can see, this is definitely shifting. We have said for years and years that the average class size is 8. And over the last few years, that has been going down. So we're saying more and more, and in this year, actually, we're hearing more and more that the typical class size is about 5. So not really sure where that's coming from, but 6 to 8 is what we're seeing as that average size. Once again, though, the class size should be what is agreed upon by the partners. So if you're able to have 12, that's terrific. And if your host business can support those 12, certainly we want to work towards that. So we really want to kind of get back to that 8 to 12 and see what we can do there. Our employment rate. So although it dipped down a little bit from prior to the pandemic, it still was pretty decent at 73.2%. There is definitely a difference between employment, so all jobs, and then our project search criteria. And the next slide shows this. And so there's always a 10% gap. And we're really going to take this year to kind of hone in on trying to delve into what is that? Why do we have that discrepancy? So for everybody that, when that blue line is all employment. So that means that anybody who participated in Project Search got a job, right? The orange line is that they met Project Search criteria. And a refresher, Project Search criteria is that it's an integrated setting, that it is a prevailing wage, so it's making the same as anybody else in that job, that it is 16 hours or more, and it's a non-seasonal job. So those are the 4 criteria for being a Project Search outcome. We've heard from our statewide coordinators that it's the hours, and for 2 reasons, that the hours that folks are working less than 16 hours, and that's where that large portion of that 10% gap comes from. One being that a lot of our folks are working 3 days a week, and usually like a 5-hour shift, so they're usually working 15 hours. Which we're like, really? 1 more hour? So really, we're asking you guys as programs to ask for another hour. 16 hours and 15 hours shouldn't be that much of a hardship for somebody. The other part we are hearing more and more about is with wages increasing, and many of our hospital employees receiving minimum wage for them, their entry level wage being $15 an hour, that many people are scared, and that again, looking at benefits and things like that. However, still again, if you're at 16 hours a week for $15 an hour, that is not anywhere near a living wage, right? And so we really are asking people to include benefits counseling in these early months, and having people have real kind of factual experiences when it comes to employment and their wages. And so whatever you can do as a site to kind of get that information and get people to benefits counselors, we're really asking for it. So many people make decisions on like hearsay and stories from the past, and we really want people to have accurate information and facts about their son or daughter or themselves gaining a job. When we look at the hours and the salary, so once again, the average folks are working 24 hours a week and they're making $11.67. Again, we know that some of this is shifting and that some of this is occurring because we do have a population of folks that are working 40 hours a week. And so that 24, when we talk about where's that gap, most people are working 15, that 24 average is coming because we have individuals that are working full-time. So again, if you look at the distribution of jobs under 16, those folks who are working 12 to 15 hours, if we bump that up, that percentage would get much closer. So again, asking more and more for folks to work those 16 to 20 hours a week so that they can have a part-time or casual position, that would be great. Host business or community employers. So again, for that 2021 program year, many more community employers were employing our participants. Typically, our host business hires about 33% of our participants, and this is showing a little less than 25%. So the host business hiring did go down. However, many of our host businesses that were on hiatus were our hospitals, so that kind of makes sense. But we're happy to see that community employment was on the rise that year. All right, so this is the slide that shows the percentage of folks in our top 20 job types. If you were at the conference and you heard Erin speak about this is her biggest pet peeve. And she gets pretty irritated about this slide. So we know that environmental, domestic, housekeeping, custodial services, we know that our population matches up with a lot of the rest of the world, right? And so this one where we see that in, when you look at that green line, 1920, and it was the highest, right? So, but we're gonna focus on that gold line, which is the 2021. Again, it's still high. So we're seeing a lot of folks working in housekeeping. And that is traditional, and we know that many times folks, in particular, again, when we're working in hospitality or we're working in healthcare situations, that these are the entry-level jobs and these are the jobs that are available often to our folks. One thing is we want to make sure that this is truly what they want. Right. So that's one of the big things about environmental and domestic housekeeping custodial services. So although this is a typical path for a large population of people and a large population of folks with disabilities, we just want to make sure that this is truly a good match for them and really what they want. Stocking and materials management. That's great. We're seeing more and more distribution centers come on board with Project Search. And so that makes a lot of sense. And we're glad to see that those are, that there's a correlation between that. Food preparation and food services and dishwashing, all of those again kind of go, and that mirrors the rest of the population. We know that many people have part-time jobs in food service and the food industry, so that's not as concerning to Project Search National. However, this fifth one, the courtesy clerk, the bagger, the carts, the greeters. This is the one that really sends Erin over the edge, and that consistently this has been in the top 5 of jobs for Project Search for a couple of years now. And there are a lot of concerns with that. So one concern is that, does it take 9 months of Project Search for an individual to end up with that job? Probably not. Maybe for a small portion of the individuals that we serve, that they would need 9 months to then be able to be a greeter at Walmart or Costco, or a bagger at a local grocery store. That would be a very, very small percentage. Most of our individuals would be able to get that job without Project Search. So that's what the big issue is. Additionally, if you are a CRP that's on this call, one of the concerns from Aaron is that CRPs, get a call from somebody, from a local partner, from a local grocery store that says we have 6 openings, and then our Project Search individuals are thrown into that pool of candidates. And so we understand that. Hey, listen, guys, I came from a CRP. I worked for Goodwill for 15 years. So I get it. I understand what it's like when you get that phone call. However, what we're asking is that you really be considerate about those Project Search individuals, and what does this truly match? Is it a strategic skills gain for that individual? So have they been prepared for that job, and does it match up with their job goals? Again, it really shouldn't. And so that's a question that we are going to be asking over and over again. And, that those jobs really be thought about. And so hopefully this changes for the next year. I'm not so sure that it will, given the kind of economy that we're in and so many people looking for jobs, and it can be an easy placement. And so we're just asking, not to look necessarily at those easy placements and really look at the skills that individuals are learning while they're in Project Search.
Yes.
Wage and hour by gender. So this isn't something that's new, but it is interesting. And so once again, Project Search is following along with, the average. So males tend to work more and make more money. And as you can see, that's the same. And so we're kind of pondering it, like why, what happens, where does this come from? And we know that our UK partners are studying this. And so they're really looking at, are our young women not pushed to go for the jobs that offer more time or more money? And it's just kind of something to think about for the future. Most of our programs are still in high schools and are those high school transition programs. Hybrid programs are increasing. So a hybrid program is a program that is primarily a high school transition program and then backfilled with young adults if they have not met their numbers. So if they're not at that 12, maybe they have 4 students and they get 8 individuals to backfill, or however that works. Also those adult programs, so those are all folks who have graduated, are on the increase, and we're seeing more and more programs start with only adults. When we look still at the program sites by industry sector, even though this was COVID year, and this is where we lost many of our sites that were on hiatus, healthcare continues to be about 65% of the host businesses. Hospitality, resort, and college and university they have stayed pretty consistent. So the same pie pieces. And again, when you think about healthcare and hospitality and college and university, that's all kind of the same types of jobs that are behind the scene jobs that our individuals are getting. And so we're training and acquiring the same skill sets in those types of positions. Where we are seeing the increase though is in that manufacturing and then assisted living. And we know that our population is getting older, and more assisted living sites are popping up, all over the country. And so we are seeing more and more of those campuses, where individuals might be living in a carriage home and there's a continuation of care, where if they leave the carriage home and need an apartment or need assistive or memory care, that's all on one campus. And that is really what we're seeing the huge growth in, is that those types of host businesses. All right, so that's all for the data. These are the updates and news that are new to the project for this program year. So first, in our member portal, the new interns tab. So if you all have been in the member portal since the middle of August, you'll notice that the interns tab is different than the rest of the member portal site. Over the next 2 to 3 years, we will be working with our website designer to change all of those sites to look like that interns tab. So if you notice at the top, there are yellow tabs that kind of outline which page you're on. It's a little more cleaner. You're going to get little alerts that will prompt you as to what you need. And the rest of the pages will look like that over time. However, we as Project Search thought it's way more important for that interns tab to be the first thing we roll out. And so you're going to see that. Many of you have contacted us saying, I put this information in and did something go wrong? No. So nothing went wrong. What is missing is things that were always missing before. You're just now aware of it. Before, we weren't kind of pulling it out or teasing it out saying, hey, we would like you to update it. Now there are those reminders to say, hey, from graduates from 2 years ago, we'd like to hear, are there any updates to their employment? Have they gotten a raise? Did they change jobs? Have they lost their job and maybe gotten a new job? So we are asking you to go back and look at some of those longitudinal data. So if you click on those things, you will see that we're asking for the updates. Or on the bottom of the screen, you will see that it'll say requires information. And so it's not that the data wasn't put in prior, it's just that we're asking for updates. So this is kind of what a little snapshot of what the new interns tab looks like. You can see there that it will always tell you what year you're in. It will always tell you who your program specialist is. And it will always tell you when your outcome reporting deadline is. So once again, 9 months after graduation. However, please, 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 don't wait to put that information in. We really do want you to be putting in information as you go, right? So as the information is available, put it into the portal. Don't wait till the end of the year or until somebody gets a job and then put everything in. And you're going to see these to-do items are going to sit there until you do finish them. And they're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger as you go on as well. So try to keep up with them and get them done as soon as you can. So they did, like I said, they rolled out in August. Any data that you entered is still there. It's just going to look a little different. And there are member portal calendars sessions. So there is always a member portal session every month. They have added some additional ones. So there are, I think, 3 this month. And then again, for the rest of the year, you could look. You can always reach out to Mary Ellen Daston as well if you're looking for some specific information, or emailing the Project Search inquiry, and Carly and I can get back to you and help you as best as we can. Again, entering that data is year round. So if you have at least your interns in right now, that's definitely what we're looking for. For first internship, if you, again, enter in the internship data for that intern. Some people like to do this 2 different ways. It doesn't matter to us. Some individuals will put the interns in and have their internship in that, within those first couple weeks that they go there. That's fine. You may have to update that information at the end of the internship if you've added tasks to what they're doing, if they switched internships, anything.
Even Buck and I,
you could wait till the end of the the first internship to enter that data, and then you're doing it all at once. Again, it's up to you, however you work and what fits into your flow of work, but please enter that data beginning with the orientation and then each internship and ending with employment. We've added additional curricula as well this year.
I just wanted to check in with you about 2 orders that I
Hey, Holly, hang on a second.
placed.
If folks could just do a recheck and mute your phone or mute your computer, please. Thank you.
All right, so we've added 2 new curricula. So we had the Building Healthy Relationships curriculum that rolled out last year, but I don't think we're not sure if a lot of people knew about it. That was part of the conference last year as well. But Catherine McLaughlin, who created the Building Healthy Relationship, also helped us create a diversity, inclusion, and inclusion curriculum. Building Healthy Relationships is 6 lessons, and it really does focus in on relationships at work and things that we know can get people either dismissed from program or fired from their jobs. And oftentimes we know that issues with those relationships are heartbreaking for individuals because maybe they haven't been told, kind of the truth or been given the facts about a certain situation. However, right before this call, I was on a call with a Virginia program, and they had to, they had to exit an individual because a staff member at their host business felt harassed by one of our program participants. And so, I kind of said, hey, did they review the Building Healthy Relationships as part of orientation? And the program manager said, oh, wow, we didn't even think about it, right? And so there's value in using these curriculum. You have to remember that our individuals, although some may be in high school, any young adult is still at a young adult phase, and so they can be charged. So some of these things are really important to think about. And we kind of have that responsibility to our folks to really give them the facts about what it could be like to be an employee and be an adult in a situation. The diversity, equity, inclusion curriculum is definitely something that's probably needed and is pretty targeted. It's 5 lessons, and those lessons really, talk about what it is to be in a hostile work environment and things that aren't appropriate in a work site and things that can lead to termination. And again, our goal isn't to give anybody opinions about certain topics. That is not what any of this is about. It's just really to teach what is an employer expectation and what can you say and what can't you say while you're an employee. And again, I think I said this, but we really do have this obligation to work with families and interns to help them understand those concepts. And that, again, it's not the instructor's opinion or Project Search's opinion about the topics that can be controversial in the workplace. It just truly is what it is. Both of those curriculums are very well scripted. So if somebody is uncomfortable about it, really like word for word, you could just kind of read the script. Also, they're meant to be kind of co-taught. So the healthy relationships or the diversity, equity, inclusion, you can invite people from maybe HR or maybe individuals from the diversity, equity, inclusion division of your school district or the host business. Try to pull in other guest speakers and things so that you can bounce the ideas off of one another. And then also that our participants are hearing this information from a different source. So that oftentimes can go a little further than the same people saying the same things to them over and over again. Our new pre-project search curriculum will be available in November. This is our goal is to get it out to any partnering school districts, any transition classes, CRPs that offer school to work programs, anybody who's preparing a young adult for employment. The goal is hopefully to kind of get folks ready for Project Search, but it maybe not just Project Search. It can be just those entry-level jobs. But really when the curriculum teachers, so our Project Search curriculum was created by 25 Project Search teachers from around the world. And that was finished in 2021. And when they finished with that, they asked Susie Rakowski, can we do something else? Can we do more? And she, said, of course you can. What do you want to do? And they all resoundingly said, we want to work on things that individuals are coming into the program lacking, right? So oftentimes that those first couple of months or first couple of weeks of the program, we're really trying to get people up to speed on being in a business, right? And kind of, working on those things that just are general kind of good employee, good employment, hygiene, healthy eating, being presentable, being on time, all of those types of skills that individuals are kind of missing, and that we spend a lot of time early on and maybe take away from the other parts of the curriculum that are important. And so they created this pre-project search curriculum with all of that in mind. So that also will be available in November of 2020. I am not sure how it's going to be distributed. I believe that it will be part of our Project Search website. So not the member portal, but the website, and it'll probably be a login, but it will be free and it will be able to be shared with all of our Project Search partners. So for many years, we've been asking individuals to conduct a skills assessment day as part of recruitment and selection. And many people have incorporated this into their timelines and into their recruitment process, but now it is required. And so, we really see that there's the benefit to seeing people in person instead of, reading their applications or taking information from a single entity or school district. It's a great way to build team within your steering committee, and also for your business to be able to kind of see people in action. The skills assessment day is meant to be like a working interview. It is not meant to be a way to exclude individuals from Project Search. It's really supposed to be a way to problem solve and get yourselves prepared for the next year by seeing these candidates in person and in action. And so if you know that individuals are going to need a little more support in XYZ area, that you can prepare and plan for that and find resources available for them prior to the year. Additionally, it can help think about other internships and some other placements that maybe you could work on over the summer to develop those new internships. But we're asking that it be required, and we're asking that it be required even if you're at the number, right? So this isn't, again, a way, many of our programs have 20 applicants and they can take 12, right? So at that way, it does kind of have to be a way to weed individuals out. So to select the people that the program is most appropriate for. But if you are a site that says, okay, I need 12 to operate, but I only have 6 applicants this year, we're asking you to still do this. And once again, we're asking you to still do this so that you can build that team within your selection committee, that you can see all the individuals in action and know what to be prepared for and how to problem solve with that time to think about. So please, 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 if you have any questions, feel free to follow up with me or Mary Lee. There is detailed information about this in your member portal. If you look in the toolkit under your resources, there's a how-to manual on how to conduct this. So if you haven't been doing it, please, take a look at that. And we're available to you to answer any questions or, brainstorm or do whatever you might need for that. Next, VocaFit. So VocaFit has been around for a few years as well. We know and we've seen the benefits of VocaFit for utilizing it with Project Search. Oftentimes, again, our VR partners really love it. It matches up with measurable skills gains. It also shows that growth over time, particularly for progress monitoring for school districts. It's really helpful in identifying new internships. So there's a whole host of reasons why we're asking folks to use it, and it's now being required. Again, I led this program for 15 years. This was probably one of the hardest things that I asked my staff to do. and they were so resistant and it was a battle all the time. So I get it. I get that it can seem like it's overwhelming and that it's a lot of work. But what I can say is getting into the system, it is acknowledged by the system creators that it's difficult. But if you can spend that time to get it set up, after you get it set up, it really does become pretty routine and it can be done quickly. The average amount of time that it takes to do an assessment for either the internship or the intern is 13 minutes. So if you have the ability to be able to get in there and kind of get through the painful part first, and then work through the rest of it through the rest of the year, you'll be golden. I know that Dennis Cleary is going to be with us for our next meeting in December. And so he will be giving tutorials. If you are struggling beforehand, please feel free to reach out to him. He has worked with a number of teams already, and he's willing to do that. There are also member portal sessions on that. So there's one coming up on Monday, October 10th. So look at the calendar for those individual sessions as well. But if you feel like I really need somebody to walk me through this step by step, he's available to do that for you. And you can be prepared for him with any questions. And I think, yep, that ends my portion.
And Holly, we're going to switch to a question and answer. Do you all have any questions for Holly about the state of the state or the website?
I'm kind of looking at some of the things that are in the.
There was one question that said, will this be unlocked, from Jennifer? And I didn't understand which part. Was that part of the portal, Jennifer? Okay. Well, let me see. There's 2 new messages. Okay. All right. If there's no new messages, we're going to switch to just look at the state of New York's numbers. Let's see.
There are some questions. So wait, hold on. I'm
Oh,
sorry. I'm trying to
okay.
scan through these. So we have Mary said it could be different jobs if students receive a high diploma and it would be easier to find better employment. I'm not sure what that means, but the IEP diploma. Oh, so the IEP diploma is a barrier at times. So folks are questioning. So you're saying that folks are questioning the diploma. So so from a regular diploma to an IEP diploma, there's questions about that from employers. Okay. All right. All right. So that's information that I can take back to our team. I haven't heard that.
I know
before.
many of us.
Go ahead.
Many of us have had that discussion in New York, especially the boroughs. I know we've all discussed it, that it is a definite barrier, because I know just for certain sites, the only thing that's available, the only actual job where the student, someone can get hired is in environmental services. So that's
because the employer requires a high school diploma is what you're saying.
correct. So even in
not like a
dietary,
GED or anything like that. Okay.
they could, if a GED is consistent with, the general diploma, but for special needs population, when they leave the Department of Ed and they don't have the, regular diploma, they're not able to get those jobs.
Okay. And are you talking about just in general or like within your host business? Could those be a conversation with like HR in your host business?
Well, we've had the discussion. I know, HRC is in here too, that I don't know if I imagine it goes beyond just the host site, but I know just for me, I'm the instructor, that it is something that is an issue at our host site.
Okay.
Yeah.
My host site is Herkimer College. And specifically getting our interns hired there, they are not accepting of an IEP diploma. We have had one individual hired on, but she is technically, she's in the kitchen doing food prep. So she's technically contracted out to a different company, not Herkimer College. So one individual in the past that was on campus with me, she was definitely qualified for data entry and getting hired as an admin assistant. Her barrier was her IEP diploma. So it's definitely something that I don't even know if employers can make considerations for.
Well,
the
so
only
they
option-
can, so that's what I guess
Yeah,
but I think it's about the education points of that. And so,
Yep.
yeah, so that's why I asked if it was a host business or it was a community employer, because it's a little easier when it's in your host business to be able to have that kind of conversation
Yeah.
with the
I don't see
HR
the raise
folks.
your hand icon.
And,
Like
and
Yvette had something to add.
yeah,
Yeah. Hi, Holly. It's good to
hi
see you.
Yvette.
So just 2 points. One is, I have had over the years successfully requested an accommodation through HR, even for civil service positions in the state, but it requires a request for an accommodation and then a review to make an exception, as an accommodation. But the other piece that I put into the chat is, I think the CDOS as a pathway is really a great opportunity for us through the community-based learning, work-based learning option. Not as a CTE pathway, but as a work-based, community-based workplace learning option. And we're looking at that with our school districts. And I was wondering if anyone else throughout the state has either successfully used it or wants to join a small, thinking short-term discussion on, let's look at the employability profile and the requirements, because we clearly meet the hours and we clearly have the great curriculum, it lines up perfectly. So if anyone is interested, please, email me. We're ready to launch immediately. We actually have 2 young folks that want to use the CDOS as the 4+1 pathway. And we have this unique opportunity because of the regents being, temporarily excused, whatever language you want to use for what we're doing. So please, I'll put my email in. I'd love to speak to anyone who's done it or who is interested in doing it. The conversation about the SAC, the guidance is you can do a CDOS as a standalone document, credential with someone who exits with a SAC. So they're not mutually exclusive. It's just that person isn't using it as a 4+1 pathway to a regular diploma.
On that topic, hi, Christine Gusky from Project Search in Syracuse. At least for us, which I would imagine is statewide, that has to be changed the year before they come in to Project Search. It can't be changed after the fact, so that if you are looking at somebody, say at open house, and they have a SAC as their exiting credential, you would want to have that changed prior to entry, prior to the end of that school year. They will not do it afterwards. Also, I can't hear anybody.
Any other pieces either related to this discussion or any other questions for Holly?
Marilee, it's Marianne. I'm sorry, I had my hand up, but it kind of blew.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I was just gonna say, kind of back to the conversation about the IEP school, exit credentials, all of that. As a director of our supported employment programs, the lack of a typical high school diploma, local or regions, is a problem for all employment services providers. And it would be a great opportunity for a training to be developed. I can definitely see, especially with student programs, that the art of negotiating with businesses to their job descriptions is not something that's naturally to everyone. But we've had amazing success both at our project search program and in supported employment with talking with employers and even proposing amended job descriptions. So whether that look like creating a new position or customizing a piece of that to say high school experience versus high school diploma. Thing that we've talked about, and really helping businesses think through what part of the job requires the academics of a high school or region versus demonstrated ability to or aptitude to learn. So I think that might be a great opportunity for some education.
Yes, I 100% agree. Because we talk about it even in relation to, just the average person getting a job, and, whether it's a diploma or I don't know, it's something like 40% of people are actually in a job that they have a degree for. And so, or that, when folks are, and again, I can speak from a management level, I would hire people knowing that they couldn't do X portion of the job, and I was allowed to do that. And, it is really about having that conversation with somebody to say, that you can hire people to do, to take out pieces of the job, or you could renegotiate that. And Marianne, I think that would be a great project search conference idea. So maybe you put that together as a proposal for the conference. I'm just saying, I think that a lot of people would really benefit from something like that. And that's exactly what I wrote down for myself to say, oh, how about a training on that? But I think that would be a great conference presentation.
I agree. You're probably right. I should learn to myself. But I think the other piece is that we have to switch our thinking a little bit when we talk with businesses, and this is a service to the business and a workforce issue where they're struggling to find employees around their entire organization. This on a bigger scale, even outside of project search. So the equity of looking at that and how that requirement of a high school diploma or a bachelor's degree really rules out a large portion of applicants who could do that job.
Correct.
Maybe helping them see that from a bigger perspective, even outside selfish needs, would be really a good business service to them.
I 100% agree. Yep.
It seems like good alignment in the discussion of diversity, equity, inclusion. It's such a popular topic right now. And I think that employers are looking for ways to figure that out, and reviewing job descriptions would be a fantastic way of helping the positions be open to more people.
All right, I just saw one more question there, Marilee, that I just want to answer. So Christine said, how do we get access to the portal for our partners? So you guys have all the power. So anyone who's listed in your program site, so on the member portal, if you look for your program database coordinator, if you are listed as that person, or whomever is listed as those two people, they are the people who are able to enter the individuals and give all your partners. So whomever you want to know about project search, you can give them access to the portal through that and all of the materials that are in there. And I would strongly encourage anybody who is touching a project search participant should be in that member portal and have access to the information that's available there. Does that answer your question?
And Jen had an updated question.
Thank you. Yes.
Okay.
Jennifer was wondering whether the past interns are locked. She's tried to update information, and she says it's not letting her.
Yep. So the first year that's available on the line in the bottom should be open. The years underneath that. So I'm trying to think, I can't remember what year that would be. So probably 2021 would still be open. And then anything, so 19, 20 and later would be locked. And so all you have to do is email Mary Ellen Daston, and I can put her email in the chat. and she will unlock those for you.
Any other pieces? Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so just to go over our employment statistics for the state of New York, and remember, this is again from the 2021 program year. We won't get the new data until December of this year. And
Oh, wait, I'm sorry, Marilee. Can I just make a clarification?
Sure.
Because I'm betting this is what's happening too. So, those dates, those years that are going to be below the line. So the programs that are up and active are the programs that have like the little cards, right? So it'll say those little cards on the new tab. Anything that's below those tabs are a different person's responsibility. So the intern database coordinator are the folks who see the pieces that are above that line. The below line are the graduate data entry coordinators. So you may not be able to change that information because you are not a graduate data entry coordinator. So that could be the issue too. Some years are locked, but that also could be why, Jennifer, you're not able to get in. That makes sense to everybody? I know that was kind of difficult. Okay.
So moving into looking at New York's employment statistics, and this is again for 2020, 2021. We won't have the new data until December of this year. And as Holly was saying, this was when we were still in COVID time. We were just coming out of it. We know at a national level that lots of hotel programs were hit very hard. And, you know, this was still a time of recovery. So in 2021, we had 21 project search programs, which is nothing to sneeze at with the number of programs we have in the state. 109 students completed the program, and 43 of the students were employed under project search criteria. So that means, again, 16 hours a week, prevailing wage, and competitive employment. 66 total students were employed. So that makes, you know, our rate of employment, our percentage rate is 43% of the students were employed under project search criteria. And if we look at the national average for project search criteria is 64%. So we're trailing a little bit. And the percentage of folks totally employed are 55%, and nationally, the average is 73%. So we're trailing a little bit, but I want to encourage you to say that if project search wasn't working, we're working really hard, and we have 55%. And this is an amazing number, and here's why. This number would be 15%. And nationally, we know that 85% of folks with IDD are not working. So this is a great number, and it's a great number to move closer to the 100%. So our goal is always to get each person one at a time employed. So as we move forward, we're working towards that 100% for our programs to have that rate. And there's some tools that we can look at. There is what's called the, hold on, I'm going to get you the official name of it. It's called the Model Fidelity Self-Review. And it's under the essential documents on the website. And that can help walk you through the different component parts. As we're seeing that as folks are lining back, we had to get really creative during this time. And we're really trying to pull back and align with model fidelity. And as we align further and further, the better the outcomes that we're having. So that's a tool that you can look at and kind of walk through the different components and then kind of set program goals for the year as a team. Think about the conference. I know that some folks are already thinking about going to the conference, and it's such a great way to infuse, I don't know, the passion, the knowledge, the connections you have with people. There's also ways to network through the website. So you can blog different questions and reach out to programs nationally and kind of brainstorm a little bit. And feel free too to reach out to Holly and I. We're happy to brainstorm with you or connect you to other people. Say if you have a hospital, you want to talk to another hospital about a certain topic, we're happy to do that as well. I'm going to toggle back to the agenda. And in that vein, if you would put topics in the chat. So as we're looking for the next statewide meetings, and we'll also have 2 regional meetings that you can go to in person. So let me know what topics that you would like to see, what kind of presentations that you would like to see to augment the knowledge that you have. If you could put that in chat, that would be wonderful. And then also, if you could put if this time works for you, or if there's a better time that you might recommend for your team. I know that this time wasn't the best for some people, but I kind of want to see what your input is. So please let me know that piece. Also, a couple people had reached out to me and to talk about brainstorming recruitment, and I'm going to stop sharing and to see everybody, but I'm hoping we can just go back and forth and brainstorm a bit about it within our group and talk about the ways that you are currently recruiting and see if you have any ideas that you can share. I know that there's some tools on the website. There are videos that you can utilize to share with folks just to get them an initial understanding about Project Search. There are also samples of flyers and different things that you can pull from the website. Does anybody have any ideas of things that they've tried that seem to work? Looks like Christine, do you have some ideas? Holly, have you seen folks on a national level use different tools?
I mean, I feel like there's a lot of different things that people do. Some people are really creative. I would think that the things that are in our member toolkit are the most popular, I guess is what I would say, right? So, but as far as recruitment, I mean, I think the earliest you can start, the better you are. Just because, you know, here we are, it's October 4th already. Like, how in the world did that happen? And so, you know, we're in October, you know, this month and maybe a week in November is pretty much the time that you're going to have to be able to get the word out there right now. And maybe this is the time for you to kind of hit hard the people associated with the people you're targeting, right? So looking at your case managers, going to your school districts, going to VR, doing some educational like seminars and workshops with those individuals, you know, OPWDD counselors, whomever, right? Or any of those other kind of partners or people, if it's Special Olympics, if it's different parent groups, whatever, you know, getting the word out to like the professionals, I think this is the time, because, you know, we hit Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then we're talking about New York. And so January probably is a wash with the way weather and all of those types of things are. And so that really just gives you a bit of January and February to kind of be out there pounding the pavement and getting individuals to know about the programs, so that by March you can have that selection day and have individuals chosen, let's say, hopefully by April, so that if folks aren't selected, they have time to make plan B, right? And I know that sometimes adult programs are on a little bit of a different time frame, but even so, that time frame really kind of gives you the time that's needed from like May to September to make the plans and get everybody in line and get all the onboarding process done and all of that stuff that can take time to be consumed. So, I mean, I really do think whatever you can do at this time to start educating the people, the professionals who are in line with your individuals that you're targeting, that's probably the best piece of advice that I could give folks.
Thank you, Holly.
Mm-hmm.
The last piece, I'm going to toggle back to the, oops, hold on a second. Okay. It looks like we're going to end early today. So just a reminder that the next meeting is December 6th from 10 to 11:30. And Dennis Cleary will be here for an hour and a half and he'll go through VoCFIT with you. And we also will have some regional meetings coming up in February. So please RSVP. You can pick either meeting. So there will be a meeting on February 8th from 10 until 2. And that'll be that's considered the Southern meeting in New Rochelle. And then February 16th, we'll have a meeting from 10 to 2. And Carol Williams will be hosting that up in the Finger Lakes region. So please let me know which one you would like to attend. And again, anybody is available. You can pick either one you would like to go to. So any other pieces good for the group?
So Christine just asked, can you give the location city for those two places? So we know what it is.
So I believe it's New Rochelle for the Southern region meeting and Canandaigua for the Western region meeting. We don't have locations just yet, but I will let you know exact locations.
I don't know how to spell. Anybody know how to spell Canandaigua? E-A-Q-U-I-A. Is that right? Oh, I think I almost. Oh, yay. I did a Q instead of a G, but you got it.
Any other pieces for the good of the group? Do you have any further questions? I'm going to pop the chat open and look again.
Yeah. So I had put out, Mary Lee had sent out an email that said that I was having some member portal sessions. I had one yesterday and it got to be a one-on-one session with somebody, which was quite nice. But I haven't had any other takers for the rest of the month. But if you or your team needs any support on the member portal, please look back to that email and shoot me an email and let me know. I'm happy. I still have those times slated on my calendar, so I'm available to meet with one person, with a group of people, whatever, just to review the member portal and all the information that's in there.
And I'll be reaching out to everybody just to connect and meet you and come see your program. So thanks again for being here. I know it's a really busy time of year and we really appreciate you and let us know how we can help you with your year. Thanks so much for joining us today and we'll see you soon and we'll see you for sure next time.
Thank you.
Take care, everybody.